Good morning, everyone. This week's parsha begins with the census, the counting of the Jewish people. And someone once said that the census of the Jewish people is smaller than the margin of error on the Chinese census. Jewish people are a very small nation, but Hashem says to count every single Jew. But when Hashem commands Moshe to count the Jewish people, he says, Se'u et rosh, raise up the heads of the Jewish people. Now the word for counting in Hebrew is tifkod. It should have said tifkod, count the Jewish people. What is this expression, raise up the heads of the Jewish people? Why is that the way God defines the counting of the Jewish people? What is being communicated with that terminology, raise up the head of the Jewish people? And here we find the fundamental difference between the way human beings take a census and the way God takes a census. What is the idea of a census? Every person counts for one. The whole idea of equality, one man, one vote. It doesn't matter if you're the president of the United States or you're some homeless person. You're one and you're one. We don't look at your intelligence, your accomplishments, your greatness. We look at you're a human being, we count you as one. So seemingly the idea of a census is you look at the lowest common denominator of every human being. You're a human being, and based on the lowest common denominator, that's what we count. And in that regard, all humans are equal, regardless of their stature and position and power and wealth or accomplishment. However, that's only if you look at life that everyone starts with zero, and as you go through life, you accomplish more. Some go further, some don't, and so on and so forth. But when Hashem says count the heads of the Jewish people, Hashem is saying the following. He's saying, I'm not counting the lowest common denominator of every human being. I'm counting the highest common denominator. Because you know what the highest common denominator of every human being is? That we all have a soul, which is a part of God. As much as we accomplish in life, we haven't even scratched the surface of our potential of our infinite soul. And therefore, what we're saying is all people are equal because what we all have is that infinite part of God inside of us, and therefore it's not the lowest part of ourselves, the lowest common denominator, the foot of the Jewish people, but it's the head of the Jewish people. It's the highest part of us. And that's the divine census. The way to look at every human being is that we're all equal because we all have a part of God in us, and therefore no matter how great you are, you haven't reached the full potential of your soul, and that person has the same soul that you have. Two quick stories. There was a Rebbe, one of the Chabad Rebbes, was once visited by a certain Jew who was a diamond dealer. And he made an offhand comment about another Jew, that something negative, disparaging. The Rebbe was very disturbed by that comment. So he said to this chassid, who was a diamond merchant, I know you sell diamonds, do you happen to have any diamonds with you? He said, yeah, he took out his diamonds, he laid them out on the table on a cloth, different size diamonds, and the Rebbe picked up a small diamond and said, this one looks like a very inexpensive one, maybe I could afford this one. And he said, Rebbe, with all due respect, it may be the smallest diamond, but the cut and the clarity and the shape and makes it actually the most valuable diamond. I'm sorry, Rebbe, but obviously you're not an expert in diamonds. And the Rebbe said to this chassid, if I'm not an expert in diamonds, since when did you become an expert in Jewish souls? Who are you to judge another person? Do you know the power, the potential of their soul? And that's the perspective that every Jew has a diamond in them, and that's their true essence, their true value, their true greatness. And that explains another story, a true story. When the Rebbe would give out dollars on Sunday, and the Rebbe was in his 80s and then in his early 90s, when he would give out dollars, he would stand from after Shachris till Mincha time, sometimes 7-8 hours straight, and greet thousands of people and give them $1 and a blessing. Now what was remarkable was that the Rebbe never took a break, not even for a minute, to go have a drink of water, never. It's all documented, videoed, it was witnessed by everyone. And he stood on his feet for 6, 7, 8 hours straight. And someone once asked him, Rebbe, why don't you sit on a chair? And people could come up to you as you're sitting. He was a man in his 90s. And the Rebbe said, everyone else is standing, I don't want to sit. So someone said, Rebbe, don't you get tired? And the Rebbe said, when you count diamonds, you don't get tired. When you truly see every person as a diamond, every encounter is so precious that you don't get physically tired because you're so excited about meeting another Jew. And that's the divine census, and this is why perhaps the census takes place right before Shavuot, to tell us that when we come to the receiving of the Torah, all Jews are equal in the eyes of Hashem because we all have a part of Hashem within us.